In what ways does your media product use, develop, or challenge forms and conventions of real media products? Forms and conventions are predictable techniques that convey a certain genre. These techniques are used by the media to communicate a certain idea to the audience or to convey an impression that's expected by the audience. There are two different types, technical and symbolic. Technical codes include camera angles, sound, and lighting. Symbolic codes include the language, dress, and actions of characters. The horror movies we got many of our ideas from are The Women in Black, Ouija, and The Monster House. The genre of our movie is horror. We made this very clear for the audience as we filmed majority of our scenes in the dark. The locations in horror movies tend to be in the dark and in an isolated place, which again helps to create suspense. The location we used was an abandoned house. We got the idea of the killer from The Women in Black. Props in horror movies include of a saw, knives, hammer, chainsaw, and other weapons which are harmful and inflict pain. The more harmful the weapon, the more shock or anxiety will be built within the audience. In our film opening, we had a killer holding a hammer, which was his signature weapon. Blood is also heavily featured in horror movies, which are very effective in building suspense and worry. One scene in The Women in Black, called She's Behind You, is when they start to show glimpses of the bride. As they only show glimpses of her and not her real face, we get the idea of showing the audience that the killer exists, but not once showing the face. The scene where the bride is reunited with her son is when we see the bride and the audience see her full outfit. Horror films feature an antagonist, which their aim is to cause harm and fear to the protagonists. The antagonist is usually either hidden or has an abnormality which makes the audience unable to identify the character, and there are usually dark and mysterious, which adds to the unidentifiable character. There is often a main character or characters which are known as the final girls, in this case Priya and Jess. The other types included in this film are usually people who are shown as less powerful and significant as the final girl and are often killed off in the movie, which is exactly what happened to Jazzy. Be the audience for your media product. The average age range of our target audience are between 15 and 24. This is because the younger generation are more daring and enjoy watching horror movies. We conducted a questionnaire, and majority of the people who answered the questionnaire were under the age of 24. I believe the younger generation prefer new things and going out of their comfort zone. The older generation are not our target audience because they would rather not watch horror movies. My evidence for this is the question we asked in our survey. 88.9% of people who answered the survey were aged between 15 and 24. This proves that the younger people would prefer to watch horror movies over the older people. Violence is a convention in many horror movies and stereotypically is preferred by males rather than females. The predominant gender of our target audience was gathered by a questionnaire we conducted. 22.2% of the respondents were male and 56.6% were female. The last 22.2% did not want to mention their gender. By analysing our results, we agreed that there was a big difference in the number of females and males that answered our question and figured that females preferred it, but we only had a response from 9 candidates, which makes it too small of a number to agree that overall females would prefer horror movies over males. Lastly, more females answered the survey than males, which makes our survey slightly biased as it will be more from the perspective of a female rather than a male.